begin to teach our school. But unfortunately, she moved to Lille, France. How many years now?
Oh, it will be
4 years? Yeah. So, but we are still, I mean, she is still a tutor of our school, and we have been discussing on this charge of criminals, and we're trying to find out the elements, the shared elements. And then at this, I feel I am lucky because I am not one of the group who shows stronger potential for serial killers. And we are going to now discover who could be the next one. Please give a big applause for Sirin Mitrani.
Hello everyone, welcome. If you are here today, then we have a common interest. So you may ask, why serial killers? My answer is simple, because I've been always interested in horror stories and psychology, and the serial killers are a good combination of these two. I've read a lot of books, as you can imagine, especially about their psychology. The books of psychologists, psychiatrists, journalists, criminologists, in 3 languages that I can speak: English, French, Turkish. And I prepared this talk for you by integrating all the information that I gathered from all these books to our common language, astrology. So I hope you enjoy it. So first we will start, who is a serial killer? So the description is made by Robert Ressler, it's an FBI agent in 1974. A serial killer is a person who murders 3 or more people, usually due to abnormal psychological gratification, with the murders taking place over more than a month and including significant break, a cooling period between them. This description is quite important because in order for a killer to be a serial killer, it should be more than 3. So what is important here, what we say, it should be an habit. I will write it down, so it is quite important. So serial killing is a habit, or we can say it's an addiction. It is also different from a normal murder. Why? The first murder that we know is, the biblical story, Cain and Abel. Cain, these are the sons of Adam and Eve, and Cain kills Abel. This is the first murder. What we see here, so what is this murder? There is a motive, there is a reason. Jealousy, probably. Cain murders his brother, and there is a target. It's Abel himself, is a target. And most importantly, there is a remorse. There is a feeling of guilt after the action. A serial killer doesn't have any of these. What he has, a serial killer, he has a lack of empathy. So he doesn't have any connection with the victim. So actually he doesn't see a person, a victim, as a person. Actually, it is a victim for him is a hunt. This is also very important, hunt. And what he has a certain morality, but we cannot call it a morality because his moral isn't in conformity with the morals of society, so socially accepted morality. So we can say there is a morality. And finally, he is very much uncontrolled. So he is not restricted, he is not binded by the rulers, so he is very much uncontrolled. So from this description, maybe you can imagine, you can have something in your mind. It's something like an animal or a human, or once human changed to animal, or just like a werewolf. Now, I strongly believe that the early serial killers, they were perceived as werewolves. reality. Actually, novella of Robert Stevenson, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, is a good example of this. Very much reputable doctor, Dr. Jekyll, turns to Mr. Hyde, sexually uncontrollable man, and Dr. Jekyll puts the blame on Mr. Hyde, actually doesn't exist. Or, you know the story of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, a famous movie. Norman Bates runs a hotel where the women are slaughtered by his mother, actually doesn't exist. This book, actually the movie was taken from the Robert Bloch's book, and Robert's Bloch was inspired from famous serial killer Ed Gein. Ed Gein was not the only source of inspiration for this book, and the other film, the movie, maybe you know, were the Silence of the Lambs. Before going to modern times, let's see the early serial killers. Gilles Leray is a French nobleman who raped and killed more than 200 boys in 15th century. And Elspeth Bathory, it's a Hungarian contest. She was called female Dracula. She tortured 600 young girls in 16th century. Both have pleasure, very like to take their baths in the blood of their victims. Let's start at their charts. So of course we don't, they are noble people, so we know their birthdays, but unfortunately not their times, so we don't know their rising sun, but there isn't enough material though. So all these stories that we start, the characteristic that we say, what do we see here? So what the common thing we see. In both charts, what we see here, Sun, Mars, and Mercury. And here, again, Sun, Mars, and Mercury. These people are these people are the killers in the first place, so it's not so surprising to see Mars in connection with Sun, because Sun is identification. These people are identifying themselves as killers. But at the same time, we see Mercury. And you know, Mercury is not going so far away from Sun anyway, but it's also conjunction with Mars here. So the killing actually is in mind. So the name of my talk is Criminal Minds. No, it's in the mind. So the other thing that we see common here, what is it? So we are talking about transformation and to changing from a human, ambitious animal, half human, half man, and it's related with, so we said that Mercury is the first agent of the mind. What is the other agent of mind, what we can say, should be Moon. Moon is memory, it's related with mind. So it's not so surprising to see Moon and Pluto connection. So in the first chart we see in opposition with Pluto, and in the second chart what we see is conjunction. So I wish we know their rising sign, because rising sign is quite important, because rising is our way to our life, how we present ourselves to others, how the others see ourselves. It's not really our character, but you know, what we show the others. So in my research, I ranked the serial killers according to their rising. So can you guess what was the #1 rising sign that I found? Any guess? Yes.
Sagittarius?
Oh, come on. How? How did you know it?
Sorry.
Okay, why?
Because they are risk takers and they could be thoughtless sometimes.
Yes.
Careless because of the adventure.
Yeah, because
Right.
the and of course we are talking about the shadow sides of the signs here, all the all the rising sign, rising Sagittarius will not be offended on that, but yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because they have a beastly
Yeah.
side to their nature.
Oh yeah,
Half husband, half
half animal and
half man.
men actually. So that's the
Sorry,
list.
how many numbers of number? What is the total number?
It was, I was aiming 100, I did aim, but later I at 4, it's 104.
100.
So, it's interesting, what do you see here? So Sagittarius is okay, predictable, but what about the last sign is Capricorn? So Capricorn is the ruler, Saturn is the greater malefic in classical astrology. So why is Capricorn is in the last
Very next to the room, tradition, moral,
and
Control.
Capricorn
Yeah.
is the sign of control, and these people are uncontrollable. Okay, going back to
But also
Sagittarius.
interesting to know that Mars in exaltation in Capricorn, so
Yeah.
there is a kind of, even it controls Mars.
Yeah. So when we look at the Sagittarius lymph, what we see here, hunter. So it's a half animal and half human, to say. It's a hunt, it's a serial killers. So again, what is the ruler of Sagittarius? Jupiter. And Jupiter is the god of the gods, sitting on top of Olympus, and he is the law. What he does, what he says, and is the law. So when I see the serial killer's charts, it's very focal Jupiter. So because the activity itself is very risk-taking and grandiose, and so much confidence. There is so much confidence. So and Jupiter is always changing, shape-shifting something, in mythology. So he's married with his sister Hera, but we know the stories, or the flaming stories. He shapeshifts to an eagle to abduct Ganymede, and he made him a cupbearer, and then shapeshift their Taurus to bull, and then abduct Europa. Jupiter is always like kind of a shape-shifting and putting the rules and making the law, and he's not questioned by anybody. He's the god, the biggest god. And he has, from all this relationship, he has many children, illegitimate and legitimate. So who is the famous illegitimate one-night stand even child of Jupiter? Mercury. And he's so quick. And serial killers are very quick people. And Mercury is also mind. And also it's as we said, Mercury rules sign of Gemini and Virgo, and it's quick and without sex, and also carries the messages between gods and between gods to human. And Mercury and Jupiter also very much seen on the very focal, I should say, in the charts of the serial killers, because Mercury is the little agent of the mind, but the daily life and how we use our minds, but Jupiter is the upper mind, so the philosophies and upper thinking. So these are two important planets that we should look at in the charts of the serial killers, as well as the houses 9th and 3rd. Why? Because Mercury is the natural ruler of 3rd house, and Jupiter is a natural ruler of 9th house. So we will see later on examples where the planets are scattered in these 3 houses, 2 houses, sorry. So what else? We can say